funding, informed giving, and collaborative action. They partner with donors who care about our community and connect them with impactful local organizations to make a real difference to the communities they serve, including Alamo, Danville, Dublin, Livermore, Pleasanton, San Ramon, and Sunol. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. Before I start, can I take a screenshot photo if people have their cameras on or want to smile? Just that way I can put that up there. Give you guys a little 1, 2, 3. Oh, cameras are coming back. I'll do my 1, 2, 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And then I'm going to, sounds like I'm going to share my screen. And when I do that, I can't see you for some reason. It doesn't work. So someone will need to moderate for me, and if I miss anybody. So I will do that now. See how this works here. Is it sharing? Let's see.
Yep.
Can you see that part? And I'll just do
make it. Yep.
Okay, there we go. Okay,
Perfect.
so I have more slides than we have time, so I will kind of go quickly, but feel free to stop me if you need to. So I'm very excited to be here. Many of you know me in my other role, but this is my second face, so just wanted to share. So a little bit about community foundations. There are 750 nationwide, 300 are accredited, and we are new, so we're not eligible for accreditation yet, but we are on that path. We just signed up for national accreditation, and we are moving along in that direction. But we're in great company with many, many foundations. There's a long history of community foundations in our nation. And our particular foundation started in 2020 with a vision of Steve McCoy Thompson from Pleasanton Partners in Education and Susan Houghton, and then John Sensiba and Pat O'Brien joined in. And so it's fairly young and new, but we are working away. And it came out of some research that was done that basically showed we have an enormous influx of funds and resources in our Tri-Valley, but in a really healthy environment. The norm would be 1.5 to 2% of those funds going to the local nonprofits. And in our region, surprisingly, it was only 0.5. So it shows that there is a lot of money, but people are not necessarily channeling them into the nonprofit organizations. And we know they're the heart of many communities. And so we also have 360 registered nonprofits, and there's just a greater need than is being served. So people do give, but they're not always giving locally. Sometimes it's internationally and out of state, and that's great, but we would like to channel funds to address local needs that are very prevalent. And so it also is aligned with the 2040 vision. I was part of ITV, many of you are as well. And I was at that time doing the youth voice, so I wasn't focused on this portion, but lo and behold, number 17 on their goals for 2040 was that we did need to have our own focused geographic regional philanthropic fund. So that is where we came to be. So this is just a really quick timeline of what happened. Is in 2020, they started, we worked with Hoag Fenton and had lightning speed nonprofit status. Had early support with county supervisors and some of our cities, and now all 3 local cities are supporting us. We took on the Pleasanton Weekly Holiday Fund. Then I was hired actually almost a year ago this month. And then we started our big corporate challenge, and we'll be doing our community grant making. We're in that process right now. But if anyone asks about us, the easy elevator speech is just, our goal is to give, grant, and then grow. And that means grow the funding for nonprofits, as well as grow that sense of community and belonging in our region that is very unique. So our vision is that we believe that everyone will and should have the opportunity to live a full and rewarding life. And our mission was said already by the introduction. Our values are not surprising, but integrity and transparency. I believe one of the reasons why Nelson Fialo, who was my predecessor as the interim, took on the job, and then I was also chosen, is we're used to working in public agencies where everything is scrutinized and everything is public record. And so bringing that lens to the work that we do, where no secrets, no surprises, and everything is open. Equity inclusiveness definitely drives all that we do. And we're very excited about the innovative opportunities, and we always work with partners. This is our team. Part of the reason why I was interested in applying was when I saw the amazing people I would get to work with. Many of them you've heard of or know, and this is again all the way from Sunol to Alamo. But certainly John Sensiba, he's well known. I think he's won almost every award for being a wonderful boss and a community corporation, community-minded corporation. And so I'm very fortunate that he's our chair. So we do have other partnerships. Since we're fledgling and still new, we rely on San Joaquin Community Foundation, which is very well established. They do our investment work, and they also help us with our back office finance and processing of donations. The Bank of Stockton is actually where our funds are invested. And then the Silicon Valley Community Foundation helps us when we get complex gifts or real estate. And if anyone's still doing cryptocurrency, they would help with that as well. We did have many founding champions, and some of you are here in the audience. I know Mayor Marchand is one of them. And this is actually how I found out about the Three Valleys. I was at my Rotary noon meeting, and I heard Susan Houghton and John Sensiba present. I went home to donate to the cause and become a founding champion. And my husband looked over my shoulder and said, they're looking for a CEO. He and I knew I was going to retire. And so I thought, well, I might give it a shot. So again, wonderful people who've stepped forward to help us begin our journey. The three different areas that we work on are donor-directed gifts. And so what's unique about community foundations is they don't have one cause. They have any cause that comes from the community, any focus or interest that comes from donors. And so most nonprofits focus in one specific area, and that's wonderful. We don't compete with them, we support them. And often donors have means and have resources and are not sure where to give them or how to channel that, and they haven't maybe vetted everybody who might need them. So what we do is we help them. I'm kind of like a matchmaker. I take the heart of a donor and their funds and help them find a cause that they really care about, where they can advance our community. We do have some operation needs, and then we also provide nonprofit assistance through fiscal sponsorship and planned giving. So we have the power of three. It's basically the three valleys: San Ramon, Amador, and Livermore valleys. And we've even been asked by Castro Valley if they could join and become 4 valleys. So we're not there yet. So some of the major accomplishments, you might have heard about some of them, but we did get initial foundation funding from county supervisors and many corporations. We've had some very successful community funded campaigns throughout our region. We are the fiscal sponsor for the Livermore Chamber. I don't know if you know that. This chamber, we are their fiscal sponsor, as well as the Danville Area Chamber. And we've had some really specialized funds. So basically, after the first 18 months, we have close to $2 million in donor assets, and we've handed out about $575,000 in community funds toward causes. I'm a person that loves pictures more than words. So these are just some pictures. This is a photo on what you'll see is the Sunol. We stood up a Sunol fund. You'll see after the floods, they were hit particularly hard. So I wrote a grant for $25,000, and we started, which was successful. We started a Sunol Relief and Recovery Fund, and people can give funds toward that. We'll be awarding that in November. We also have the Impact Diablo Valley, which is a giving circle. And this is a unique concept where everybody gives the same amount. So Alamo is a very wealthy community, but instead of having the haves and the have-nots and some people giving more, 100 families give 1,000. And in this case, we were so successful this year, 150 families gave 1,000. And they'll be awarding $100,000 impact grant to one nonprofit, and then two $25,000. And $100,000 to a local nonprofit can really make an impact. And then the on a smaller scale, but very meaningful, we stood up a fund for the fallen officers. We had a Dublin deputy, Aubrey Phillips, who lost her life in the line of duty for a medical emergency. Her surviving spouse is also a deputy. He's in the photo to my left. And he has 3 children that he's now raising alone. And so we were able to take people's funds in as donations. They've received tax write-offs, and we presented them with a check that helps them with childcare. Stories from Pleasanton's past. Here I'm a Livermore former superintendent, but I'm doing things in other communities. So you'll see the big giant check. That was to the Pleasanton Unified School District, $250,000 toward ADA compliance and facilities improvements prior to their bond. We also ran the Pleasanton Holiday Fund and gave out $83,000 to 8 different nonprofits in our area that were deserving, and we did not take any fees for that. It was all just something that our board wanted to do. And then the Pleasanton's Pass, that's coming up with the Amador Centennial. So a book was written by a group of alumni from Amador about Pleasanton in the 50s, and the funds are going toward the Amador Valley Journalism Program. We also, as I said earlier, with the donor advised funds, we help channel that funding so we can grow the corpus, we can invest it, and then we can help grant that to nonprofits that are deserving. And so some of our unique donor advised funds, Gene King started one called Give, Grant, and Grow Green, and that's for sustainability and environmental causes. We have a new scholarship that's just coming out. We're not going to be anywhere near the Pedrosi Foundation with their scholarships, but at the same time, there are other communities that look to that and say, could we also have some? So we're starting one with Amador Valley, a Living Legacy Scholarship, and then Project Hope. This is just a couple who decided to start their own DAF and take in funds so that they can help with philanthropy. An agency fund, we're in communication with the LARPD Foundation and some other foundations to help manage their funds. And that way they can focus on their core mission, and we can help them to make sure that even if they have transition, some of the smaller nonprofits might need help. And so we can run their fiscal side, and then they can have stability. And we're also able to pool that, and if it's and we can invest it, and then they get the benefits of pooled investments. Our big exciting venture right now is the Power of Collaboration Corporate Challenge. We do have, I know John Muir is one of our big supporters, and they're here in the audience as well. And we started off with Amazon, PG&E, and Sensiba came forward, and that was our first grant making to tackle community issues. So we will be giving out those grants in November. These are some of the logos from those who have supported us. And again, it's a collaborative focus. Usually you hear corporations are competing in the market and all that, but you see after John Muir stepped forward, then Stanford stepped forward. And so we also have more than one bank in here. So what we realize is that if your client base is here and your worker base is here, that you want to give to our community. We identified needs. So again, since we don't have one cause, we used the community health needs assessments that were done mostly led by the local hospitals. And what emerged from the research was that the behavioral health, mental health, just as Michelle was talking about earlier, is one of the highest needs that we have, particularly after the pandemic, but even without the healthcare, access, delivery, housing, homeless, and healthy lifestyles. So our board chose to focus on behavioral health for this first round of grants. But often what I do, and this was similar when I was a superintendent, was try to raise the consciousness and awareness that even in the midst of affluence in our very vibrant and wonderful region in the Tri-Valley, we do have those who are suffering hardship. And so sometimes it could be a veteran, it could be a senior, and many people are unfortunately just on the edge of a medical, marital, or health disaster that could then put them into poverty. So we're here to support those causes. Mental health and wellness was the focus because that we chose this year for our grant making, and that's because we can't be everything to everyone, but we do know that it crosses all demographics. So the kinds of stresses that people deal with may be different depending on your circumstance, but it's definitely prevalent. And so this is an area that we're focusing on the first grant round. We have received 39 applications. We just closed that, and we'll be announcing those very soon. So that was very exciting for us to launch our first official grant making. And we will be handing those out on November 28th. Please save that date. We will be having a very big gathering. We have an incredible keynote speaker who has not yet been announced, but we'll be at Las Positas College in the Murtis Theater for the Arts, and we'll be handing out funds that evening. So we hope that you can come. It's free to everybody. We're still looking for sponsors. We have Fremont Bank and Summit Financial Group, and I think Fremont Bank might be in this group too. So again, we like alliteration. So transparency, trust, and Tri-Valley focus. Those are areas that we pride ourselves in, and we are considered an anchor for this geographical area. And we want to make sure that everyone knows that we have unique needs. Technically, we could be in the area of the East Bay Community Foundation, but they've been incredibly supportive, even transferring funds to us, because they have such a major area, all of Alameda County, all of Contra Costa County in their territory. And they have said that they cannot get to every need and every focus that we have, because there's a lot of the urban core that takes up a lot of their focus. So we are hoping to move beyond just transactions of a donation for a cause to truly transformational change where we can make an impact. And that's our long-term goal. I'll leave you with a quote, which is John Sensiba's favorite one. And I'm probably speaking to the choir here with all of you, because all of you do so much good any way that you can, everywhere you go, for all the people that you encounter. So thank you for letting me share today. And I will stop.
Thank you, Kelly.
My pleasure. It was fun. So, if there's anyone has any questions, I can answer them now. And also, to me, this is the beginning of a conversation and community outreach. And so you can always follow up too. I'll put my email in the chat as well. And
All right. Any questions for Kelly? Yes, Tracy.
Sure, I'll jump in. Kelly, that is so exciting. Wow, how much you have done in such a short amount of time is incredible. And to be able to get the support and the collaboration. I just learned a lot about how foundations work. I actually did not know that you are also, how do I put it, like the bank for other grant organizations, so that they've got a place. It's kind of like how I assessed it to my new arts platform. It will have a ticketing ability down the road, and there are people who just can't do ticketing on their own, and so they need a house to do that in. So it sounds like you're creating the house for many other granting opportunities. I saw that you launched just in July, and that you've been putting out the grant application form. What are your requirements when it comes to grant applications? Are there minimums, maximums? Is it, how does that work so that we can send people your way?
so we did just close this particular grant for the mental health, but basically, and then we'll be reopening, and we'll have a new grant for the Green Grant and Grow Fund. And so each one will have some different requirements, but generally, we've all been on the other side of applying. So we have a streamlined process. It's all done through Foundant, so it's a system, and we're looking for the connection to the cause, the ability to make it happen, and to show that the funds will go where they're supposed to go, as well as for dynamic leadership and impact. And so this current grant round, if you are a single agency, you're eligible for up to $20,000. And if you collaborate, because again, we're encouraging collaboration, if you work with another agency, you're eligible for up to $30,000. And those funds would be expended ideally over the next year, with a half coming 6 months and then a check-in and another half. But if it takes longer, as long as they do an amendment, if someone wants to spread it over 2 years, then that's great. So that's kind of how we've set it up. We have a wonderful community volunteer grant committee that's made up of people from our area, and they and that committee will change because some of them have mental health expertise for this particular.
Thank you. That is it's interesting to see how and that you will find out about them putting the funds to work in the next year. That's a quick turnaround for some. I can understand that, but to be able to have the oversight and someone that you need to prove it to, I think probably helps get that out that much faster. So I didn't know you could create your own fund. So basically, if I want to give you a whole bunch of money and I can name it the Tracy Farhad Fund, then
exactly we have. Exactly, and you get the immediate tax write-off. In fact, I was new to this space, so in December I thought everyone's getting really generous, and then like light bulb, it's tax time. People they have funds, they want to put them somewhere, and we have a range. We have some donors who just put the money there, and then I help them find where to go. We have others who come in so organized. We have one donor, Daff Holder. He set up his donor advised fund. and he already has funding earmarked for 20 different groups that he cares about. A Rotary and a Heart Kitchen, Open Heart Kitchen, all these, and a percentage of his funds will go to them every year for the next 5 years, and then we're going to reevaluate. So, and he does percentage because that way, because we've invested his money, and then it'll grow instead of a set amount. So, so it just depends. It really is where you like your funds to go. We can help with that.
Thank you.
I will just say with the mental health too, initially when we launched, some people thought you had to be a nonprofit that focused solely on mental health. And there are some that do, like NAMI and Discovery Center, but we did a broad lens. So most nonprofits, there's a cross section between mental health and what they are doing. So there's a wide range of variety of the nonprofits that are applying. And we're really excited to see that interpretation.
Well, I know that our hospitality industry really wants to continue to give back. We created a Tourism Cares Visit Tri-Valley last year, and started small with City Serve, but I have a feeling we'll be calling you, Kelly. So
wonderful.
Thank you.
I actually have an assistant too now. I went from 1,400 employees to me. But we do have support, and we have a working board that's amazing, a volunteer working board. And eventually as we grow, but you've probably heard of Silicon Valley. It's the largest. Silicon Valley Foundation is the largest in the world because all the tech people put their funds in. But one thing that we really encourage is don't just take the funds, give them back. Local funds for local resources. And we also try to tap into the untapped, bring in resources that nobody would have thought. So, so that's been an exciting venture.
Hey, well, great. Thank you, Kelly. Drummer Health is proud to participate in Three Valleys Foundation. So with that, I think we don't have any additional questions or announcements. Please check the chat for all the information that folks have entered today. And then our next meeting